My name is Derek Wormley, first of all. I am 54 years old, and on October 30th, 2015, I was on my way to a meeting at the police department. I'm a police officer, police detective, and as I walked through the roll call room, I just dropped, collapsed, and I was not breathing, no pulse, no nothing. And my coworkers, 30 of them, were in there, and they immediately, I should say, started CPR on me. They continued to do CPR on me, and they knew that there was something wrong, and they couldn't revive me. So they already called for EMS to come. They arrived on scene. The first responders arrived on scene, and they determined that I needed to be shocked back to life, and they didn't have a defibrillator. So they took over CPR, and they called for one. And just by the grace of God, there was a EMS worker on his day off. On the way, he was a block away from the police department, and he had his own AED. He paid out of his pocket, and he had a scanner on, so he was able to get it to the police department. They shocked me several times and revived me, and they immediately got me out to the hospital, where I was life flighted to Duke University Hospital. From there, I was placed in a medically induced coma, and for 4 days after they eased me off out of the coma, I awakened. I was in a real state of confusion. I looked around, I looked to my right, and my wife was by my side. And she told me that they believed that I had a heart attack. So from there, my kidneys failed on me as well. So they really couldn't do much with me at that point. But once they went in to do the check to see if I had any blockages, I had none, zero, nada. So they were trying to figure out what caused my sudden cardiac arrest. So I had to wait I had waited about 3 weeks before my kidneys were able to function back, where they could do the test. And once they went in, they found and they diagnosed me with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Once I got the diagnosis, I was really confused because I didn't know what HCM was. They basically told me that I had an enlarged heart, and my lower left ventricle, the walls were really abnormally thick. And I had to do a lot of research on that. And I was really scared because they told me that because I went into ventricular fibrillation, that it can happen again. So they implanted a ICD pacemaker. I was just overwhelmed because, I mean, not knowing what I had this all along. It was just a whole lot to process. And they told me there was no cure for it, and I have to take the atorvastatin and carvedilol for life. And they told me that my lifestyle would have to change. There's a lot of things that I would not be able to do, and that right there just really struck me really hard because I'm a guy that was active, police detective. I participated in sports activities and all that. My grandchildren, playing with them, and just not having to not be able to do that anymore, full speed like I used to. That was really devastating to me. It really was. When I went in after I got my defibrillator implant, the doctor asked me, he said, I understand you're a police officer, right? I said, yes, sir. He said, is there any other job you could do? From right there, I knew my career was over. But he also asked me about my family history. I told him that my father had died of heart failure. He asked me how old my father was. I said 58 years old. He said, well, did they ever give him a diagnosis? No, I just told him they just said heart failure. He never had got tested for that. And he recommended that I do genetic testing with my siblings. And I have 6 children and I have 5 grandchildren. So I talked to my family members, told them, my siblings and my children to get the genetic testing. It pretty much fell on deaf ears. I stayed on them, constantly, and just kind of, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it, and they never done it. Well, January of this 2020, I lost my brother to sudden cardiac arrest, and I was there to see him take his last breath. And all I could think about is I kept telling him to get himself tested, and he just kept putting it aside. And I just, I mean, we can't twist the arm of our family members. They have to want to go to get it done. And I'm constantly on my other. I have a brother and sister left now, and my children. I'm constantly on them. They have yet to do it, but and my brother, like I said, was 52 years old. I had my sudden cardiac arrest at 49 years old. So my father, my brother, and me, we were all under the age of 60, and I'm still pushing my family members to get tested. I want a cure for HCM, but I don't want to have to take medication for the rest of my life. I don't want to have this device, but I know it's there. Um, I wish there was a drug that we could take to help, cure me and cure all people like me. I would like to take time to thank the FDA for listening to me and listening to my story, and everybody that's involved that's working so hard to try to make a drug to help cure this disease. And I just thank y'all for this and giving me time to talk to y'all. Thank you.